Hey there, my wonderful farmy. We are back on Calm Lands on the One Tile Challenge, and we've got quite a bit of stuff that's happened. We are in April, so that means we are full on in planting season, but I wanted to kind of pop in to here real quick. We've already had our second batch of lambs, and so we've got, now we're up to 32. So we have basically doubled our original amount now. So that's pretty cool. That means we're going to start getting some actual wool at a fairly regular clip now. We've also got our granny shack going, and we've already gotten our first thing of clothes. As you can see, we are sitting at $19,812. I'll have to get them some more food at some point, either today or on the next day. Our current meadow is actually doing perfectly fine, and they're just so cute to watch those guys jump around. Now, I have started planting already for April. We've got this field here set up for corn, and we've got that field over there set up for sorghum. And one of the things that I wanted to show was we have cleaned up our lot, our area quite significantly. We have got our windrower in here now. We've slid this over to the side because we won't need that until like September or October anyways. We're kind of doing okay. I mean, we're doing perfectly fine when it comes to fertilizer. We've got these 2 bags. We've got 2 more bags right here. Those 2 are just barely a full bag between them. And then I've got 2 additional new bags. So we are doing perfectly fine. And we have sold some stuff off that I just didn't think we needed anymore. So we did pick up a corn header. This is just a small, like, I think this is just like there's a 4-row. So it's like 2 meters. So it's not a huge working width. And which I bought this used, so that gave us an opportunity to sell our super sheller, which, don't get me wrong guys, it was a lot of fun, but I was destroying a lot of corn in the process of using it. And this will also open us up to plant sunflowers and harvest them. So I kind of wanted to have that as an option. Now, over in the far corner there, we are planting soybeans, and that's not done yet. But by doing this, I was able to open up this entire stall. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put our planter in there, back that in. And over on this side here, we've got just our weight and pallet fork, excuse me. We are getting close to that month where we can sell our soybeans. In fact, we are able to sell them in the month of, is it June? July. And the price is climbing, but it's not where I want it to be. So, I'm going to check next month if we're relatively close in the month of, well, not next month, but if we're close in June, then we'll probably do it. Next month is going to be grass. And I do have the first cutting of grass is actually in our clamp down here, fermenting. And next month we can sell our clothing. Now, the thing I want to do is, once I've started selling clothing, is I really want to get our pigs going. So that's going to be a next step. Now, we do have it's only like 4,200 or 40, like just over 40,000 liters. So, I mean, this is less than $6,000. It actually might even be less than 5,000 if I'm being honest. The barley is actually going to be used to, produce pig feed. So long term, yeah, I want to be able to produce pig feed. Now, Will we eventually split this field up? Yeah, I'm ultimately, I don't want to sit there and plant soybeans, but I am doing it for the money right now. I would rather do something that I would rather have all crops that I plant have something to do with either feeding my animals or a production. What production? I don't know. So like with wheat, I intend to create, I just intend to feed that to my pigs straight up. With sorghum, again, I plan to feed that to my pigs. With corn, I want to feed it to the pigs, but I also want to make corn oil. And then there's sunflower oil, grape, or not a grape oil. There's olive oil. So I do want to get into an oil production. So I am no longer selling sunflowers and grapes and potatoes from the thing there. I'm actually going to be saving those for either production means or for feeding to my pigs. So we've really kind of cut the big money makers out of that, and I'm kind of interested to see how that impacts us financially, because I think it's going to have a significant impact on us. Now, one of the other things though I'm going to be doing is pig feed, but that's what the barley's for, and I don't know how much pig feed I'm really going to need. I'm assuming it's going to be quite a significant amount, because I am considering doing a massive pig farm. But I figure I need about $70,000 to put that in, and just getting the pigs is going to. Okay, so back to getting this field seeded. So we'll get this one here seeded, and then I just got to get them all rolled out. But back to what I was saying, I'd like to make some farm productions, and I'd like to get all items that I am growing to be items that I am using in a production form. So it's either going to be fed to animals, or it's going to be used as something into a production. The pigs, they're going to be just flat out sold for profit after they get to be a certain size. I think that's the way to go. And eventually we want to be able to start selling or start paying off our loan, which I think is going to start happening here this summer. Yeah, I want to get my pigs in place by July. So once we sell, basically our first couple batches of clothes as well. So once we sell our soybeans and our first couple of batches of clothes, then we can really start to focus on, getting those pigs into place. And it's going to cost us some money. Now, in the used goods, there is a tree. I think there's a tree planter. I have to double check, but I thought there was one. And what we'll do is we'll just get turned around here, and I'm going to, just so that we can continue on the straight path, I'm just gonna do this, and we can go ahead and take a quick peek. So yeah, right here for 8,900, and there there's finally a tractor. I mean, I'm not going to buy the AgriStar, even though I love this tractor. It's the one that this playthrough originally starts with, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. I did add some other mods, but we'll talk about those later at a later date. Yeah, there is this Damcon planter for trees, and just one of those things that I've been thinking about. I should work the properties a little bit better and then plant trees, but I think I'm just going to plant them on straight grass or meadow, however we want to play it through. And I'm actually going to use these walkways because I don't want to sit there and do a bunch of grass work long term. All my grass work, I just basically want my grass to at some point just eventually go to my sheep, and we may at one point invest in a larger sheep pen. I don't know, but yeah, I think that's kind of where we're headed. Fewer arable crops, more items planted that are going to be production based, because I've never really sat there and done a farm that focused on production and animals, and so I thought this was just the greatest challenge to do that with. So yeah, I want to keep the one field of grass, which we'll probably wind up using that as a silage sort of thing. And the other reason I wanted to get my farm cleaned up on the yard was I wanted to be able to put productions on that yard, such as my pig feed, because it's just going to be closer to the farm itself. But yeah, I want to get a couple more ways to make money. So trees are going to be coming in to play, and they're actually going to be planted in these little I guess they're grass lanes, but eventually they're just going to be for trees. And I don't know what we're going to actually put in there long term, but I think having like I mean, technically speaking, I would consider them a fence row, but for right now, I think having a division point of trees, it's just kind of that next logical step, because I don't want to have a bunch of lanes. And the thing I was considering was, I can't do anything on this outside, but I can put them down the center of this and between what is that far field and this large field. And eventually I'd like to break this field up into 2, maybe even 3 smaller fields, because once we're not doing cash crops and the focus is production, then we will definitely want to have a smaller field and then make this one our big field. The only issue that I'm going to run into is making sure I have enough for feeding our pigs. And I think at the end of the day we'll be all right, because this field is going to produce a lot of pig feed, and I'm hoping that it produces a lot of barley that we can turn into pig feed. I wanted to do barley specifically to ensure that I kept my wheat for the pigs to feed them as their grain. And I think next year that field is actually going to be sunflower, and it's not going to be, I'm not going to grow any soybeans at all next year. And then we'll have just a nice mix of stuff. I would like to figure out a way to get some canola, and that's why I'm considering breaking that field into 2, but I won't be able to plant canola there in the next growing season, which it might happen though, we might get some canola planted. I've never been a fan of doing canola. Maybe I'm weird like that, but you know, that is what it is. Finally, let's go grab our roller. And there we go. And oh, a couple other things I did, and I meant to mention this, was I actually got the hopper upgraded on the harvester along with the corn header. I know I already mentioned the corn header, but we upgraded that. So it's now 3,500 liters as opposed to just 3,000. Obviously, we had sold the one trailer. I might wish that I hadn't, but I do plan on buying a larger tip trailer. And the other thing we did was we sold our cultivator and we purchased, and I hate making the purchase, but I was getting tired of having such dirty everything. We did purchase the power washer, so we can at least keep our equipment looking somewhat presentable and everything. But this tractor is in dire straits of a paint job, so you know, once we get our pigs in, maybe that's something that we should consider doing, is getting it nice and cleaned up and painted again. And if you look at it, we've got almost 40 hours. 40 hours, guys, already on this tractor. That is insane in the membrane. But yeah, we will continue doing whatever we have to, though. I am going to just do a simple fertilizing, spreading on these 2 grass fields. All right, you guys. Let's take a peek. Okay, so I don't know if it'll sell this month, but it is possible that it does. So I may want to buy that today. Wheat. If I get pigs before July, I might need that bag of wheat. So I may just buy that. Going through this, those are poplar. I don't want to do fields of poplar. It's interesting, though, that they put those right next to each other. Definitely something to think about, but I just don't think I want to do that. So we are going to purchase this because I'm not financing it. I just bumped the button. We're going to purchase this. And then we're going to go ahead. We're going to purchase some trees. And like I said, I don't want to have just a bunch of straight up trees that make no sense. So this is 20 trees of, that's just a generic. And that's 20, 24. I think I'm going to do this for my just looking at the different costs. If I did, I'm going to do 120, and we're going to do those, and I'm going to do 120 Scotch pine. Now I'm going to do 120 lodgepole. Okay, and then we're going to do 6 each of not going to do any no. I want to do some oak. Do not want to do Scotch pine. I do not want to do red pine. American elm, apple tree, aspens. I guess we'll do some beech. Some birch. I want to do more birch. I do not want box elder. I will do a pallet of cherry. And I will not do that. Not that. No. Dun oak, dun scotch pine, red pine, shagbark. No. I will do I might already have an American elm. You know, I'm going to do an apple. I have a cherry. I'm going to do a Chinese elm. All right. That gets me a lot of trees, and it burned up a lot of cash. A lot more cash than I was hoping. Farmers market, because we've got some stuff we've got to sell. Yeah, we do. One thing I'm going to do on the way, I typically wouldn't do this, but I want to sell this month. So we are going to, oh shoot. Yeah, we're just going to put those to selling. All right. And keep driving here. We're going to sell these off. So that other pallet will sell off at, should sell off at 9 o'clock. Alright, there we go. So yeah, we've got $7,539. We're going to sell another 20-some thousand. Clothing right here. And look at that, we have got $28,000 again, so we are doing okay there. And we just got to switch over to our bucket, and I'm hoping that we won't have too many. It's going to be like 14 or so trips, I think, to get the get all that taken care of with the silage. And as you can see, I have my trees. I was kind of hoping to get the trees planted this month as well, at least some of them. It's going to be interesting to do the trees.
You've been asleep for a while.
Looks like I need to go pick a weight up. We are a little overburdened. All right, there we go. All right. So we're at $33,164. That's a pretty good amount of money. I think I'm going to split this in half and be back in a little bit and finish this off. I just gotta get some things done, get kids to bed. So you guys catch you on the next little bit.